The switch. What is it? How does it apply to law enforcement? And is there maybe a better way of looking at it in order to sort of make it make more sense to more people? So the switch is a term that is used to typically describe law enforcement intensity levels and your ability to switch them on and turn them off in a moment's notice to be able to handle situations and then bring it back down and do, sort of the admin stuff after the fact. A really easy example to help visualize this is imagine you are talking with somebody, maybe they're a suspect, but you're trying to get more info because you don't think they're going to jail yet. And all of a sudden they turn around and take off running on you. You would switch on the intensity, you'd start chasing after them, take them into custody, do what you got to do. And then you would switch it off after that, and you can go back to interview mode, gathering information, stuff like that. Now, I kind of touched on this in one of my last videos, but in my opinion, I think using a dial as an analogy here is a little bit better and can make a lot more sense for a lot more people, because nothing is as black and white as just flipping on full intensity and then flipping it off. You don't always have to be 100% intensity levels with somebody, and you don't always need to be no intensity levels. There's, room in there that you might want to sort of raise your intensity a little bit and then dial it back down, or raise it a little bit, then raise it more, and then raise it more. You get the point. We've all seen the videos of officers who are maybe in a foot chase or some sort of use of force, and once that incident is done with, the foot chase is over, the use of force is done, he's in cuffs, he's not resisting anymore. The officer's still just at 100, he's shit-talking the guy, yelling, screaming, rough handling him. Like, that's an example of the switch and them not turning it off. One thing I think a lot of people don't really think about when talking about the switch is if you have it ingrained into your minds, this idea of a switch, and flipping it on and flipping it off, it can start to get in the way of your OODA loop process. And if you're going from 0 to 100 all the time in your incidents, it can not only escalate things in some cases, and it can just get in the way of your whole decision-making process because you're so focused on yelling and screaming at this guy. Maybe somebody produced some sort of weapon and you're just screaming at them at the top of your lungs to drop the gun. I get it, trust me, like, it's a stressful situation and it's not a situation any of us want to be in, but if you can train yourself to ramp things up and sort of slow them down in your head as best as possible, then I think you're going to have a better outcome at the end of the day. So if you would, for a second, just imagine a dial with me. And if it's at 0 all the way, to one side, it's at 0. It's just completely relaxed, no intensity levels at all. And if it's all the way to the right, you're essentially fighting for your life. A gunfight, somebody reaching for a gun as you're going hands-on with them, stuff like that. Now, I would say at any given points for law enforcement, we're probably just always baseline at a probably 10 to 15, maybe even 20% on the dial. We can't just be completely relaxed. We can't just not be paying attention to stuff. So you arrive on scene at a domestic violence call, and maybe based on the call notes or something, you dial it up just a little bit, 30, 40%, because the guy's maybe been to his house before. He's always fairly hostile towards law enforcement. So you dial it up a little bit, make contact with them, and you try to just cordially get information, ask questions. Maybe the suspect is sort of being belligerent towards you and he's not necessarily fighting or running or producing a weapon, but just verbally being non-compliant and just difficult, right? We've all dealt with that. So you could dial it up just a little bit more, go up to 50, 60% in terms of your voice levels and what you're trying to tell them to do. Maybe you determine that it's time to just put this guy in handcuffs and secure him because he's being, a little sketchy. So you dial it up just a little bit to kind of portray the fact that, hey dude, I'm not here to play around. I'm trying to be nice with you, but if you want to be this way, we'll go there and you'll go in the back of the cop car. So you decide to go hands-on with him. he starts resisting, pulling away from you. You increase the intensity levels even more, maybe 70, 80%. And let's say after that it's done, you are able to maybe use some simple hands-on techniques, you know, take him down to the ground, get his arms around his back, handcuff him. And at that point, boom, back down to 10, 20%. With that example in mind, I think this is a really good way to look at police intensity levels and how to scale them and descale them. You know, there's a lot of different factors that come into play. Every scene is different. You know, how you're gonna scale that is gonna change on every scene that you're at. But I think this is a really good way to look at it and describe it to newer officers or maybe older officers who just haven't caught on to that yet, because that is a thing. But that's why I like that analogy, because you can quickly spin the dial up to 100% if you have to, or you can only spin it up to 50% or wherever in your intensity levels, and you can still get the job done. It's a better way to analogize the sort of use of force spectrum and how you escalate or de-escalate the situation. Because yes, sometimes you do have to escalate to get people to realize, hey, these guys aren't playing around, and if I don't fix my stuff right now, I'm going to jail, or whatever the case may be. Now, I obviously don't mean escalate the situation in the sense of somebody's being verbally belligerent and you pull your gun out on them. Like, that's not what I'm talking about at all. So please don't get that confused. There's all sorts of methods we have to deal with situations, all the way from verbal judo to hands-on techniques to intermediate weapons, body language, that sort of thing. And the dial applies to all of them individually almost. So you can think of it as like a master dial for your intensity levels, and then, you know, you can dial up all the other skills and tools that we have accordingly, depending on the situation you're in. So that being said, guys, let me know what you think about it in the comments below. If you have any of your own thoughts to add to it, maybe you like it, maybe you don't, let me know down in the comments. But with all that being said, guys, I'd really appreciate it if you do all the things that help us small creators grow, letting us know if we're doing good, what you'd like to see us improve on, like, subscribe, all the fun stuff. And really the biggest thing is interacting with the video down in the comments and sharing the video with your friends. That's enough rambling. Thanks for watching the video. Have a good day.